February is the month for preparation because eclipse season is fast approaching and the astrology is about to pick up in intensity, and it really starts with the full moon in Leo that is on February 12th. It's creating a T-square with Uranus and Taurus, so it's likely that there is going to be lots of uncertainty, instability, with some chaos mixed in as well. Welcome back, old friends. It's Chelsea. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, new friends. If you want to book a personal astrology reading with me, you can do that in the link on my website or the link below. So let's kind of lay the groundwork and look at where we are, where we have come from, to kind of understand where it is that we're going. So 2025 started off strong, at least the calendar year, with Mars retrograde, and the first week of January, we started off with the second of 3 Mars-Pluto oppositions. So this is an energy that is highly alchemizing, it is highly transformative, pretty uncomfortable. We're being forced to leave our comfort zones. We're being forced to really take a look at what it is that drives us, really deeply understand why we do what it is that we do, what cycles we might have found ourselves stuck in, just diving deep into the psychology of everything, the psychology of our actions. And when we look at the collective, it's a very explosive energy. It's even a very explosive energy looking at our own lives. There is a lot that is shifting within ourselves, and there's also a lot that is shifting within our society. So then we go to the middle of January, and the nodes shifted from Aries and Libra into Pisces and Virgo. So this is the big shift of energy. This is now where things are just going to be getting so strange, especially coupling that with Pluto in Aquarius. And this is an energy of, seriously, of portals opening up. The veil that typically separates the different worlds, the physical and the non-physical, it's dissolving, especially with Saturn being in the sign of Pisces, and it's getting closer and closer to Neptune. And this is an energy that is going to continue in intensity for an entire year, because they're not going to meet in their exact conjunction until February 2026, when they meet at 0 degrees of Aries. And so this is a really strange time. We are entering into a period of time that is completely uncharted, entering into uncharted territory collectively and in our own lives. And so although this is a period that is very disruptive and chaotic, uncertain, unstable, this is also a potent period of time. It is an opportunity to really work with this alchemy that is all around us and bring some really powerful changes into our lives. So not only that, we are also in the solar maximum, and this is a period of time that is known to be very disruptive to society, very disruptive to our physical bodies even. The entire Earth is going through these massive shifts, and as drastic as that might sound, you can look around and you could agree with me, I'm sure that is very undeniable, that we are in a period of time where just everything is changing across the board. So that's kind of where we're at. Let's sort of zoom in a little bit. I want to talk about some events that we have astrologically throughout the rest of this month as we lead up to eclipse season, and kind of also give an overview of what to expect as we enter into eclipse season, because we also have Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde. And I'll kind of make spin-off videos of all of these different events that I'm talking about, but I really want this to be an overview because, again, like I said, this is a very important time to just prepare. Everything that you have been putting off, everything that you have been feeling like you need to do, like this is a period of time now where things are, I don't want to say they're at a standstill, but I mean, Mars, which has been retrograde since December 6th, And this Mars retrograde is a process that really began in the beginning of October when we look at when Mars first reached 17 degrees of Cancer, where it's going to be retrograding back to. But so throughout the month of February, Mars is kind of, I mean, it's hardly moving. It's moving like 2 degrees this month. It's at a standstill, the planet of action. And so where it can feel like we are at this standstill, or where it's like, maybe I would imagine also a lot of us feel like there's something that is about to happen, hasn't quite happened yet. We don't know what it is that's about to happen, but it feels like at any moment a pin's going to drop, something's going to shift, something is going to, whether it's information coming through, especially with this full moon that we'll get to in a moment. There are shifts that are on the horizon, and this is a period of time where we're sort of at a standstill. A standstill is not a good word for it, but where there's almost like this liminal space where things are kind of suspended, and where we have this, it's the calm before the storm. That's what this is. And so anything that you have been putting off, anything that you have been feeling like you need to do, now is the time to do that. This is the time to really anchor into your body, to ground your energy, to support your nervous system, to bring stability into the body, especially as we're moving through this period of time where it just feels like there is so much instability in the collective. This is a period of time where we also need to have our own internal compass, our internal guidance system strong and sharpened. And there are going to be things happening externally in the collective and just in our own personal lives that honestly don't make sense. We can't make any sense of them logically. And that's because this is a time, I mean, we do have Mercury in Aquarius right now where it's exalted, and the mind is, you would think that typically the mind is strong, but there is just this strange sort of disconnect. It's like we're moving through this fog most of the month of February. We also have the North Node in a conjunction with Neptune. So let me kind of go through periodically here. Okay, basically, Mars square Chiron is also active all month. So Mars first formed a square with Chiron before it stationed retrograde. So this was all the way back. This was October 13th, 2024. Mars squared Chiron from Cancer and Aries at 21 degrees. So I know this was a while ago, but think back to what was going on in your life mid-month in October, because this is an energy that we could be revisiting. There are certain themes, cycles that we are moving through again this month while Mars is retrograde, forming that square with Chiron in Aries. So again, the square was exact February 3rd, but like I said, Mars is hardly moving this month. And so this is an energy that we're going to be moving through. This is an energy that could feel like it could feel like there's just irritation. It could feel like there is something that wants to just bubble up beneath the surface from our subconscious mind. Perhaps there are triggers, there will be external triggers that sort of bring something that has been suppressed in our mind, in our memory, bring it to the forefront of our consciousness. That's likely very uncomfortable. It could be also these harsh truths that we are moving through. And this is just an energy, harsh truths, sobering truths. This is something that we're moving through also as Saturn is approaching its conjunction with Neptune over the next year. As Saturn and Neptune are going to be moving very closely together, there's just a lot of harsh truths that we are going to be facing. Perhaps also we have been ignoring something. So it's also this energy of not taking action in certain things because we have been wounded in the past, because we have been emotionally or psychologically just put through pain, and stopping us from moving forward in certain ways. Throughout the month of February, this is a time when we can really be looking in the depths of our subconscious mind and understanding our shadows, understanding what it is that we're shying away from, what it is that we're afraid to face, where it is that we are afraid to go. We could also really be confronted with our pain from the past that is preventing us from moving forward. There could be something that we want to move forward with, but for whatever reason, there is this wound from the past that is hindering the present moment. And so this is an opportunity to really get to the bottom of these triggers, of these core wounds so that they can be transmuted, so that we can move beyond them and move out of our comfort zone, move beyond these karmic cycles and these karmic patterns that we might have found ourselves in. 2025 into 2026, there is a powerful opportunity for us to really get off of that karmic wheel. Whatever those patterns, habits, cycles, these detrimental cycles that we might find ourselves in, these repetitive loops that keep us trapped in the past in some way, this is a period of time where we can really face those harsh truths and transcend the version of ourselves that is keeping ourselves stuck and preventing us from living the reality that we truly deeply desire. So like I said, Mars square Chiron is going to be active all month. The first square was October 13th, 2024. Think back to what you were moving through at that time to kind of understand what you're moving through now in the areas of these deep psychological triggers, in the areas of also healing and of taking action and understanding what it is that might be preventing you from moving forward in certain ways. So there is going to be the third and final square when Mars is direct. This is going to be March 26th. So we'll talk about that more once we get there, about this whole kind of cycle that's wrapping up. So something else that we also have going on this month is the North Node in a conjunction with Neptune. So it was exact February 7th, but this is an energy that is very much present all throughout the month. They're going to be within 1 degree of one another the entire month. And so this is a time, like how I had mentioned, it's not the time to really try to understand things from a logical, analytical level. Things might not be making sense. It could feel like our perception is just hindered with this fog, like we're unable to see beyond this fog that is distorting our vision. It could be like we are trying to navigate through a sea of lies, like something has been deceptive in our life. It's like moving through illusions. And so tons of propaganda, mass lies coming from the media. And so something that I've been saying since March 2023, since Saturn entered into the sign of Pisces, is how important it is that every single day we are doing something that anchors us deep into our body, that anchors us truly into our soul. Do something every single day that allows us to truly connect with ourselves and connect with all that is outside of ourselves. And as we are leading up to this Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's going to be exact in February, now until then, it's something that's going to be really important. It's going to help us navigate this sea that we're moving through. So as we're moving through this energy of the North Node conjunct Neptune, in its lower expression, there can be a lot of confusion, deception, illusions, just completely being ungrounded. There could be an urge to abuse substances. And even if you typically use substances, like have some wine here or there, or maybe use cannabis here and there, herbs, whatever it is that you typically use, you could find that you might be a lot more sensitive this month. And so that's something to keep in mind too. This is a time of increased sensitivity. And so things that can alter our consciousness, that can hinder our senses, it's an energy that is amplified as we're moving through this. So in its highest expression, the Neptune North Node conjunction is dreamy, it's creative, it's artistic, it's this ability to transcend barriers and to truly enter into this union, this energy of oneness, where we really experience this connection, this oneness. This is a time when, if we are really present and grounded in our body and we are just in a state of surrender, that really beautiful things can come of it. Something else that's really important as we move through this energy, and really as we lead up to this Saturn-Neptune conjunction all the way in February 2026, something that's really important to work on and to lean into is spiritual and energetic protection. This might sound a little woo, but there are definitely some portals that are opening right now. Whether it's experiences with ghosts, with just other entities, with other beings. This is also why I emphasize to be really careful if you do use substances around this time, because when we do certain things, and I mean, there can be so many different things that we do throughout our day that has this potential to open up our aura, to create these openings in our aura. And as they open, that enables other things to make their way into our bodies. To work with the energy of this Neptune North Node conjunction throughout the month, pay attention to your dreams, surrender, allow yourself to connect with the flow. Lean into things that allow you to experience a sense of timelessness, where time dissolves and you are just tapped into the flow. You are surrendering to your ability to be a powerful creator. Really, all through 2025 into 2026, we want to be really aware of our energetic body, of our aura, of things that we might do that create openings or cracks in our aura. We want to just strengthen our energetic bodies, strengthen our aura. Work with this by doing like light body meditations, by literally just envisioning colors, like beautiful colors around your aura, by really checking in with yourself and seeing where you might have weaknesses, not only in your physical body, but also in your energetic body. Really like kind of imagine your aura, like start tapping into this electromagnetic energy that surrounds us, because especially as we are moving through this energy of the solar maximum, it's like all of this increased energy is penetrating to Earth from the sun. We have reached this point where the Earth's magnetic field has weakened. And so because of that, it is opening. Again, like boundaries are dissolving, and there is increased energy that's coming onto our Earth, and it's impacting our auras. It's impacting our light bodies. There is an increase in light that is reaching us at like down to our DNA. This is a time when we can really tap into our spiritual abilities, tap into our senses, tap into the unexplained, and we can leverage that. We can use that to our benefit. We can dissolve these energetic blockages that we have within ourselves, that we have from emotional traumas. Okay, so kind of moving on. So something that we also have that is active all month, all throughout the month, is a trine between Mars in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces. It's exact February 9th, and this is when the moon is also forming a conjunction with Mars. And so this is when the energy peaks around February 9th, on or around February 9th. But like I said, it's going to be active all throughout the month. Think about things that protect you, things that make you feel safe at a deep emotional level, and invest time and energy into those things. Are there things that you need to do around your home? Are there things that you need to do with your body? On February 12th at 8:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the full moon in Leo. And this moon is in a pretty tight T-square with Uranus and Taurus. And we also have Mercury that's involved, as it's in a pretty close conjunction with the sun. And so with this full moon, there is, I mean, with Uranus involved, I'm definitely expecting disruptions. And collectively, we could see disruptions to the financial market, disruptions to supply chain, disruptions to food, all sorts of disruptions in things that we typically look towards for safety and stability. Around the time of this full moon, trust your intuition. There can be sudden disruptions. There could be things that are coming up that don't quite make sense. Maybe there's something that you can't quite put your finger on, but trust your intuition, pay attention, stay grounded, protect your nervous system. There's a lot of energy that's coming along with this full moon in Leo. There's just a lot of collective noise, and this full moon in Leo on February 12th will likely amplify it. So there's just going to be a lot of chaos, a lot of disruption. So do what you can to just mind your business, stay to yourself, trust your intuition, stay grounded and anchored in your body. So once we reach February 18th, we are going to have the Sun, Mercury, Saturn, the North Node, and Neptune all in the sign of Pisces. And so things are about to be getting so strange. Things are not going to be making sense. This could be a time when in the collective, lots of water-related issues. This is just a lot of water to have, especially as Mars is in Cancer at a standstill, preparing to station direct. This is a lot of Pisces energy. Not the best time to be trying to make sense of things. If you want to just tap into the flow, do something creative, surrender, don't try to force things. I mean, this is just an energy as we're entering into eclipse season, like starting now, don't force things, like surrender, allow things to happen, respond. And that's why I'm saying also, you just want to make sure that you are so deeply anchored and grounded into yourself so that any of these weird external situations that might arise don't nudge you out of alignment. Don't kind of like push you away from wherever it is that you are trying to move to, that you want to, wherever it is that you envision yourself at a deep soul level. Great time for meditation, for really leaning into spiritual practices. But again, stay grounded in your body. This is a time when a lot of intuitive people are going to be feeling really just sensitive. Could also be a time when there are some people experiencing extreme psychosis, where things are not making sense, where it's like they're just, the understanding of what reality is really going to be challenged as we move through really the next year. February 23rd, Mars will finally station direct at 17 degrees of Cancer, where it initially was back in early October 2024. As Mars is stationing direct at 17 degrees of Cancer, Mercury is going to be at 17 degrees of Pisces, and it's forming a supportive water trine, likely going to be giving us messages into what just happened since early October, what it is that we've been moving through, really understanding at an intuitive level what we've been learning so that we can integrate it and start taking inspired action. We're going to be getting intuitive insights at how we can apply whatever it is that we have learned during this Mars retrograde period. I'm sure for many of us, it has literally felt like a dark night of the soul, where there has just been just low energy. I mean, it doesn't help that it's winter also. This is kind of going to be a turning point. It could feel like you finally have more energy than you have had in a really long time, but just be aware. I mean, Mars in Cancer, it's an energy that can get burnt out easily. Kind of like take your time gaining your footing. Don't rush into something. I could see that this would probably be a time where a lot of people might be injury prone, where there could be accidents happening. You just want to kind of move forward with caution, especially because, as I said, this is an energy that's going to be taking us into eclipse season, and things are just going to be feeling really wonky. So the post shadow of Mars ends May 2nd. So it's April 28th when Mars is going to be having that third and final opposition with Pluto. We have the new moon February 27th, and there's just going to be a lot of energy in Pisces. We're going to have the Sun, the Moon, Saturn, Mercury, the North Node, and Neptune all in the sign of Pisces. If there was going to be another pandemic or like a health scare of sorts on a collective level, I could see it really initiating at the end of February, or honestly sometime in between now and that Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's going to be February of next year. But so we'll see. Definitely probably going to be lots of water related issues. I would not want to be on a boat during that time. That's just me. So that's kind of the overview of these energies that we're going to be moving through in February. Now, once we get to March, Venus is going to be stationing retrograde, and Venus will be retrograde in Aries and Pisces. And so also we are going to have Mercury retrograde in Aries and Pisces. So Venus is going to station retrograde March 1st. But this is an energy that we've already been in since Venus has reached 24 degrees of Pisces. This was January 28th. That's when we reached the pre-shadow for this Venus retrograde. And so you can think back to themes, cycles, patterns that you were moving through in your life 8 years ago, because that's the last time Venus was retrograde in the sign of Aries and Pisces. So think back to what was going on then and what you're moving through in your life now to see if there's any sort of dots that are being connected with this Venus retrograde. And so also with Mercury retrograde, that's going to initiate March 15th. Things likely will not make sense. It's not the time to try to figure things out analytically or logically. It's a time of anchoring deep into our body, connecting with our internal compass and guidance system, and navigating that way. Just imagine navigating through the middle of the ocean in the middle of nighttime, and it's not the external environment that's going to be navigating you, unless you're looking up at the stars. But it's what's really going to help you move through this period of time is your own internal guidance system. And so in order to access that, it's so important to tune out the noise and to just connect with yourself. Connect with yourself at a deep spiritual level. March 1st until April 13th, Venus is going to be retrograde. March 14th, we have the first eclipse in Virgo. March 15th, Mercury stations retrograde. March 29th, we have the final Aries eclipse. March 30th, Neptune enters into Aries. And so there is this big emphasis in the Pisces, Aries area of the chart. And that just emphasizes, in my mind, that is emphasizing these beginnings that are being initiated, but also these endings that need to happen. And with these beginnings that are starting, it's not like we are going to be diving headfirst into something, because it's like Venus and Mercury are going to be stationing retrograde in Aries, and they're going back to Pisces. That's emphasizing that there is some sort of unfinished business. There's something that we have to go back to. But so what's really crazy to me, and so I would love to hear your opinions on this and what you think this means. But so basically, we're going to have Venus stationing retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries. Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde at 9 degrees of Aries, and the final Aries eclipse on March 29th is going to be at 9 degrees of Aries. So there is this focus on that point in the chart, that first decan of Aries, but then Venus is going to be going back to 24 degrees of Pisces. Mercury is going to be going back to 26 degrees of Pisces. We've got the North Node in the final decan of Pisces. Neptune's going to be in the final decan of Pisces until it enters Aries on the 30th of March. Saturn's going to be in the final decan of Pisces. And so it's like there's so much being emphasized at the very end of the chart and also at the very beginning. But so in order to really have those new beginnings in our lives, we have to make sure that there are things from our past that are just tied. The loose ends are finished, that we're letting go of things that we need to let go of, that we're letting go of baggage, that we aren't going to continue to carry things in through our lives that aren't serving us anymore. We need to let go of dead weight, whether it's physically in our home, in our space, with ourselves, like emotionally, things that we just need to let go of, forgiveness that needs to happen. And that's also something with the North Node in conjunction with Neptune and a higher expression, that is forgiveness, that is compassion. It's surrender and it's letting go. This is a process that's going to take us into next year. This isn't just something that we're moving through now. And it's because, yes, Neptune is going to be entering into Aries at the end of March, but it's going to be returning back to Pisces later in the year. Yes, Saturn is going to be entering into Aries. I believe it's in May, but Saturn's going to be returning back to Pisces later in the year. And they're not going to be returning back into Aries until 2026. Like, yes, there's about to be a lot of emphasis in the sign of Aries, initiating new beginnings, like a trailblazing energy, entering into new horizons, new inventions, new discoveries. There's a lot that's there's just a lot of new that's going to be entering into our life. But there's also a lot that needs to be finalized. And I really believe that this is an opportunity to exit that karmic wheel, to let go of everything that has been just chaining us, everything that has been trapping us at a deep soul level, and to really transcend that, to dissolve these boundaries and limitations. And with so much Pisces energy, the problem with it is a chance for escapism, like I've mentioned, substance abuse. But when we look at the more positive aspects, it is this ability to dream, to envision, to create. But in order to do so, we have to stay grounded in this reality. We can't get lost in all of these different realms that we're going to have access to, all of these different dimensions that we're easily able to travel through, whether it's through our dreams, astral travel, meditation, past life regression. These other realms are going to be very accessible, and they already are. And I'm sure many of you are already experiencing this, but we're on Earth now. We came here to be on Earth. We came here to channel those different realities, those different realms into our creations on Earth, into our connections on Earth, our relationships, to channel these other worldly energies into our physical experience here. And so that's something that I really want to emphasize, because it's going to be so easy to get swept away in these fantasies, these dreams, these illusions. But at the same time, there is magic within that. There is our ability to imagine, to ground our dreams in this reality. But again, we have to stay grounded in order to do so. So I do want to emphasize, so I'm going to start wrapping it up here, but I want to kind of make sure I hit all my points. So I do want to emphasize this seriousness that we're in. And it's not just this month. It's not just until eclipse season. Like, this is going to take us into 2026. With Saturn in the sign of Pisces, I mean, we've already been in this energy, but it's going to increase as Saturn continues to get closer and closer to Neptune. And it's like Neptune has been in the sign of Pisces since 2011, 2012. And that's when this new chapter began, this new story began for ourselves, this thing that we might have been envisioning. It's not necessarily tangible, but it's like this belief that we've told ourselves, this narrative that we tell ourselves that we live this reality based on. And so as we're moving through this next year, it's like we're going to be confronted with harsh truths, like that we might find that we've been lying to ourselves. We might find that we have had on these rose-colored glasses in order to feel this sense of safety and security, or just to feel like this world is less scary. But it's like, well, what are we actually hiding from? It's going to come to a point where we actually have to look inwards and actually face ourselves. And at times it could feel like we are just moving through this haunted house within our mind. Sometimes, like, the scariest thing in this world is the truth. The scariest thing about ourselves is the truth that we have been running away from and hiding from. And so this is an opportunity, though, to face that. And as we do, we can really evolve into the next period of our life. The whole world, and I didn't even talk about Uranus changing signs in this video, but because, I mean, that's not going to happen until July anyway, but similar to Saturn and Neptune, similar to what Pluto was doing, Uranus is going to enter into Gemini, but it's going to return back into Taurus. And so 2024 was a really big year, because that was the year when Pluto finally made its ingress into Aquarius, where it's going to stay until 2043 to 2044. But so 2025 is a big year, because this is the first year, the first full year of Pluto in Aquarius. But also, this is when we're going to start to see Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus change signs. we're going to start to get glimpses of this new reality, of this new world that's being created. And I mean, it's kind of like an energy within the world, like globally, it's like it's an energy of a reset. If I was controlling the world and I wanted to take advantage of an opportunity to reset things, whether it's the financial, like to reset our monetary system, to reset, I don't like whatever, to reset everything, it would be 2025 into 2026. Well, I would have already, the foundations for that would have already been put in place, but it would be 2025 into 2026 when it's going to start to get finalized. And so it's also an opportunity for us to reset our own personal lives. And so with this big emphasis in Pisces and Aries that we're going to be moving through, we could be asking ourselves, like we can envision what is it that we want to create in this world. And we can imagine, allow ourselves to dream, but then it's important that we do something with that. We take inspired action, and especially because Mars is going to be stationing direct within the next couple weeks here, and that's going to bring a change of energy. But again, don't get burnt out with that, because it's going to take some time for Mars to actually gain momentum and to start moving forward. There's a big seriousness also in us stepping into our roles that we have here. With this reset that's happening, the world globally is changing. And with all of this instability that's here, it is going to take very tuned in, very tapped in, grounded, spiritually led people to be these grounded pillars of safety and security for people in our lives that we care about, for people in our lives who just need this feeling of safety and security in this world that is lacking that so much right now. So I think on that note, that's about everything. Thank you so much for listening to everything that I have to say. Again, I will be doing little spin-offs of this video as we kind of move forward here. Thank you so much for listening. I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think? What are you moving through? What are you picking up intuitively? Yeah, this is a really powerful time for bringing healing to the parts of ourselves that need it, so that we can shed those old layers and move forward. I mean, year of the snake, right? There is this shedding, and especially with being a 9-year too, there is a letting go before we enter that state of completion. And so, yeah, so anyway, if you want to book a personal reading with me, I will leave the links below. Go to chelseatantra.com, Chelsea Tantra on TikTok. Join me there. Thank you so much. So anyways, what are your thoughts?